Zach, words can't describe how good you are. You are just amazing. I hate to mess up the service by preaching a sermon after that, So just listening to the words that you sang and listening to the words of the gospel that Maddie just read makes me realize this religion thing is not all that complicated. And we can make it complicated. But I was thinking, if you knew you were going to leave this earth tomorrow, and you had some of your family and loved ones by you, what would you say? What little piece of advice would you want to leave behind? So Jesus in the gospel today, he's leaving, and he says to his followers, love one another as I have loved you. It's not that complicated. It's human. It's not Lutheran, Catholic, Jewish, or anything else. Just when I leave, love other people as I have loved you. Today is a day of all kinds of emotions, I'm sure. Sometimes I go back and cheat a little bit, and I go back to some sermons I wrote in the past, thinking I could get a little wisdom from that. And I look at some of the stuff I did, and I said, what were you thinking? I remember one sermon I gave a while back on Mother's Day, and I talked about my mom in very glowing terms. And she was a great lady. She'd been gone for like 35, 40 years. And afterwards, I thought to myself, Don, you just went on and on about what a great mom you had. What if somebody came to church for the first time on that Sunday and really didn't know who her mom was? Or what if somebody came to church on that Sunday that you did all that, and she's estranged from her mom? Your glowing thing about your mom wouldn't be good news. And it made me realize that today is a day of all kinds of different emotions. And yet somehow we come together because all of us have a mom or had a mom. And being a mom is about unconditional love. Each one of us, even males, male, female, whatever, if you have a mom or don't have a mom or are a mom, every one of you at some point is like a spiritual mom to somebody else. When somebody needs some love and support and you give that love and support, no matter who you are, you become in that moment kind of like a mom, sharing the gift of unconditional love. And when we're humble enough to step back and accept that from somebody else, no matter who it is, that person becomes like a mom unto us. There's laughter, there's smiles, there's broken hearts, there's sadness and grief and laughter and tears and good memories and tough memories. Being a mom, wishing you were a mom, whatever. All kinds of stuff in this room this morning. I look back on my life, I have my share of regrets. There's a lot of things that could have been different. But today I think of Jesus' words. Love one another as I have loved you. I remember being with my mom the day before she died. She was at a hospital. And in so many words, I don't remember exactly what she said, but in so many words, she said to me what Jesus said to his followers. She said, love one another, Don, as I have loved you. If you want to honor me, remember me, just live in that spirit every day that you can. There's a few people I'm thinking about today. I'm thinking about Pastor Timothy Johnson and his wife, Renee. He is a Baptist pastor in the city of Chicago. And the other day, he was at his mom's house helping out, doing some stuff in the alley. And he got beat up. Seriously. And then his wife came to kind of rescue him, and she got beat up too. And they both had pretty serious injuries. And they talked about him on the news, and they interviewed his kids and picture of him as the minister. And it's not just because he's a minister, but I just think of him and what he went through. And I know that his church will rally around him, for sure. They have like a GoFundMe page. But I was thinking a little Lutheran love bucket money wouldn't hurt a Baptist who needs a good prayer. So I was thinking about him and his family today as we gather here for worship. And then there's Abby. Abby is the granddaughter of John and Kathy Klepeka, who come here at the early service. And Abby died of brain cancer shortly after she turned 8 years old. And that was about 7 or 8 years ago. And every year they have a walk-a-thon for her to support research for pediatric cancer. And ironically, the walk this year is at Oak Lawn Hometown Middle School, where we had to pack the house the last time. And I'm thinking of her family and her journey. And even though she had just such a short life and many of her dreams could never come true, I think of her today. You know, there's so many needs out there. I mean, we could have the love bucket 10 times a day for all kinds of stuff, but all we can do is maybe help one person, one family, one moment at a time. And somehow in God's great scheme of things, that has to be enough. We can't do it all. We can't be it all. But we can love each other as Jesus has loved us. So yesterday I walked out back and I saw a brick back there, Marilyn Bunt. And her husband Don is a retired professor, and Don is so supportive of our church, but he's been pretty careful about getting out, like a lot of us have, or a lot of you have. And I remember Marilyn, she was the dean of the nursing school at Lewis University. And she was only 60 years old when she passed away, and she was one tough dean, because some of the people that came were her students. And I remember being with her the night before she passed over at Loyola Hospital. And as I was about ready to leave the room, she looked at me, and she pointed her finger at me, just like deans do. And she said, "Pastor Don, make me one promise. Will you please have communion every Mother's Day?" And afterwards, her husband, Don, said, he said, "You better do that because she'll come back and haunt you if you don't." And then as I left the room, I looked back at Don. And I said, "How about this, Don? I think we're going to start having communion every single Sunday." And he said, "That's pretty Catholic of you, Don." And I said, "Why not? Our church is mostly Catholic anyway." And ever since that time, we've had communion every Sunday because it's a part of who we are. So to each one of you, please know that in your own way, you have a spiritual mama inside of you that calls to accept unconditional love and to give out unconditional love. And there's lots of people to think about today, and we all have our own folks. So to Pastor Tim, and to Renee, and to Abby, and to Marilyn, and to Don, Jesus tells all of us to love one another. And you may be strangers, but we love you, because that's what today is all about. Amen. If you're able to, please rise for the creed.